Welcome to the Team GPT podcast. We are outside the gym today in a very, I feel like this should come out on Halloween. It's a very ominous setting.
It's very ominous.
It's a spooky setting.
It's just so moist inside that we had to come outside.
That's a gross word. Anyway. So, today on the podcast, we're going to talk about... Me!
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's not... The podcast wasn't about me enough. It's like...
The first word.
Hosted, Anyway. So, it is July 23rd, I believe, as of the recording of this podcast. The release of this podcast, who the fuck knows? It's just going to come out. But... July 21st is the Connecticut... Was the Connecticut Summer Showdown. There's also traffic, so if you hear that, we apologize. Anyway, it's also
trying something new.
We're trying something new. We want to...
we figured we'd set up mid-traffic.
Yeah. So, anyway. And I competed, right?
I did not.
Brian didn't either. People just assume I don't do shit on this podcast because I don't. But I actually do compete, right? And we had a pretty shit day, so that was
nice.
fun.
Well,
what was your total PR for the day?
What was your total?
Let's start there.
So my total PR was 50 some odd pounds on my total since regionals.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was going 7 for 9.
That was going 7 for 9.
So we missed a third bench that would have got you a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then I went aggressive by putting a 22-pound PR attempt on your deadlift for your third attempt.
Yeah.
Which we probably could have gotten 17 pounds. So if we hit all that, we're talking a 72-pound PR from one meet to the next.
That's nice.
Yeah,
we failed. Fire me.
More importantly, what songs did you lift to?
Oh, that was I forgot my squat song.
Your squat song was Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh yeah, it was Earth, Wind, and Fire. Then
your
my
bench song was you had the iPad. What was it? Oh, wasn't it Aladdin?
No, that was my first deadlift.
That was deadlift. Okay.
And my second deadlift was Hakuna Matata. No, because I wanted Dancing Queen, but it didn't put
make it work.
We had A Whole New World, and then Hakuna Matata.
And then Cascadas Every Time We Touch, because that's a goddamn classic.
That's
Fight me if you think otherwise. But yeah, no, I've mentioned it on the podcast a lot of times. I tend to not take the lifting song seriously. I don't think it's... I'm about to burn some huge bridges here because I'm leaving for Kansas City. The two things that I think are just pointless are having an overly aggressive song. I think you should be able to find that personal internal motivation to lift heavy weight if your mood is deterred off by music. You can't lift heavy because a song is playing. It's just get stronger. Also, taking your shirt off for deadlift.
I do that. I do both of those things.
So fuck you, Brian.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
I don't see the point in taking your shirt off for deadlift. I might just be weak.
Well, here's the problem: is it shapes your nipples.
Oh, okay.
So you really have to time it effectively, because if you don't, it's just not a good day for your chest.
Because I don't train in the gym shirtless, so why would I do it?
Maybe you should start, dude.
Is there a...
I'll throw one more person on the bus and then I'll actually kind of talk about music for real. But Kevin Can, who's when you watch Kevin, he's probably one of the most intense lifters. His eyes look like they're going to blow out of his head.
The whole meet, he's like
the whole meet. His last song was Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I asked him what he wanted. He's like, Taylor Swift.
And he said that if he didn't have that on, he might have not had the day that he had because he needed to be picked up for that third deadlift.
Yeah.
It's not normally what you'd expect from, a male powerlifter at the end of the meet to be like Taylor Swift. There is research behind music that a higher tempo, it does help with especially with cardio events. So Panama by Van Halen, it's 180 beats a minute or something like that. It's very fast. It's been shown to have some rhythmic effects with your heartbeat to help you pick up your heartbeat a little bit faster, which can therefore have a little bit of a better effect on your training or on your performance. There's really as far as I know, hasn't been anything done like that on weightlifting. So it's all just speculation.
But it's also when you go to a weightlifting competition, it's dead silent. It's like,
well, yeah, I mean, they can be quiet, but like I think so. The music that most people are listening to, like for that heavy deadlift or heavy squat, whatever, is usually either heavy metal or hardcore rap, which is what we play most of the time in the gym anyway. It's really not that fast. You think like it's not the same kind of beats per minute as something like Panama.
Yeah.
Rap like Biggie's like 80 beats a minute. It's actually had got like kind of like, at least at performance enhancement wise, it's actually more of a calming effect because it's not that fast. It's the undertone that you're kind of setting yourself to. But I understand, like for Brian, like Smash Your Enemies, you hear that high pitch at the beginning of the when the song starts, and like it gets you in the right mindset.
Yeah.
Is it actually is the music itself giving you any performance boost? No, it's absolutely not. It's just giving you that mindset to be able to focus on the task at hand and complete it. And the problem, I think, is like when you go to bigger events, we're lucky here that someone like Brian's willing to take a lot of people and say, hey, I'll play a song for you, and that we have someone at the table that can put that song on. But when you go to bigger meets, we were nationals last year.
Oh, God,
it was basically elevator music the entire time. There was no heavy metal, there was no rap. It was just like, just gentle music playing in the background. You're not going to get that. But strongman events, usually they're outside. Yeah. There's not, like, if there's a stereo, it's not going to be much. Yeah. And like I said, at true weightlifting, like Olympic weightlifting, it's silent. Yeah. So Chad Smith had made a comment years ago that he tries not to listen to stuff that he wants to listen to when he's training, because come meet day, you don't know what you're going to get. And if you have to have Smash Your Enemies on every time it comes on to lift heavy, you're never gonna get that at nationals, and you know that. Yeah. But in the gym, like for that PR attempt, yeah, we can do it. At a local meet, yeah, we can do it. But you're never gonna get that. No one. Gino's not putting on Smash Your Enemies next time.
No, he's playing Kid Rock on YouTube on his phone.
Yeah. Gino's probably not putting on Every Time We Touch.
Oh.
It's not happening. So
classic.
You have to be able to find inwards of like how to focus and hit that tunnel vision or that focus, whatever it is for you, that you can still make that attempt without anything. Yeah. I used to talk about my buddy Carl and I when we started lifting. We lifted in silence all the time. The YMCA that I grew up lifting at didn't have a radio until we bought one for the weight room, and we weren't allowed to play anything that had swears in it, which took away all of our music anyway. So yeah, it helps the environment a little bit where you can maybe you're just into the music, but it's not helping your performance.
I think it's just energy, and where you might be like, everyone started clapping when you played skate. It was fun. It made it gave more energy, and
which sucks. Like, not sucks that the fact that people suck. But I meant my thought process was it sucks that when like powerlifting meets are objectively boring to watch. Yeah. Right? Other than watching that one person or like the couple friends right? You sitting there listening to just loud, obnoxious music for like 5 hours. People tend to just sort of like check out or like just sort of drain energy over time, that by the time, you're on like second benches, like people are just like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. Right. I think the excitement for like the deadlifts come not because like it's heavy, but holy shit, it's almost over.
It's a really cynical way to look at it.
So,
well, that's legit. I put together playlists to match the energy of the meet. So like if we play hip hop during bench and it's more calculated. It's a little boring. Yeah. But when we pick it back up into deadlifts, as long as the meets run well and it's not hours long. Yeah. The energy's picked up a little bit. It's usually a little bit more energetic towards deadlifts. And it's not just because of the music, but it matches the energy. But having those breaks, right? When I breaks show up in between,
and freaking Aladdin starts playing, people are all like, "Oh my God, I love this song."
People remember Aladdin.
Oh my God, he's an idiot. Like, what are
this fucking idiot again?
And it takes that break of like, oh, okay, cool. It resets, and So, I mean, that's partially the reason why I did it. Other reason was because I objectively hate myself, and I think I think that just having the people at the table fuck with me until like I get a lift is hilarious.
That's very nihilistic.
Yeah.
Way to bring this podcast down.
Yeah, no.
Well, let's get off that a little bit.
So, okay,
talk about your performance.
Well, I was going to ask you.
Ask me first.
What do you think about my performance?
All right. Tell us your numbers.
It's 518.
Which was?
A squat PR by 11 pounds.
5 kilos.
Yeah.
Bench.
304, which in a meet is a 10-pound PR. Not in the gym, but you know who gives a shit about that. And deadlift 531.
529.
529. Which
tied.
No, I did 531 because I matched.
It's not a number.
Oh, okay, whatever. 535 or whatever. Ryan did, I did as well.
535, yeah. 531's not a number.
535, which is a 4-pound PR and 6-pound PR. I can't do math. It's late. And by meet standards, I did 518 at regionals. So whatever math that is.
17 pounds.
17 pounds.
7.5 kilos. We used to think kilos would be easier. What did I think about your performance?
Yes.
I thought you had more left in the tank for squat.
Okay.
Which, let's pull back a little bit. This was not the meet you were supposed to do.
No, I was training for regionals.
Which is in about 4 weeks. And then you decided to go to med school.
Yeah.
So you leave before regionals, so we had to do a meet quickly. So we changed it. You did this meet, so we changed.
Well, I was going to do May, but then it was like, fuck that.
You were supposed to do May, too. You're right. You signed up for March. You're supposed to do May. You signed up for March by accident. You did that. You screwed a couple things. So the training's been, we had to change a few things.
It's a blessing I got into med school, guys.
We had to change the peak a little bit to make sure that you peaked on time. I said you hit a 5 kilo squat PR. I think you had more in the tank. You agree with that?
Yeah.
Bench, with your shoulder issue is always kind of iffy.
Oh, yeah.
You'd hit 325 in the gym, I believe.
319,
which a lot of that has come on recently, so your bench has gone up very quickly, very recently, which is great. We went for
525.
325 in the meet, which wasn't there that day. But if we went 314 and 319, that probably would have been there.
Yeah.
Not always you're going to hit the numbers you want in the meet. Deadlift, so you pulled a 529 deadlift in the gym 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And the speed of the deadlift, I said you this after the meet, was the first time that I had the confidence to call a big jump. And I said based on that, I was going to call a 10 kilo PR and go to 551, which was the first time that grip has been an issue for you, and you've never held that much weight, and it came off the floor fast, and you almost had this in front of you. Yeah, you just had that. I think if you had the grip, you probably would have locked it out fine. You would have hit a little bit less than that. If we went 545, you probably would have had that. So I think overall, a 50-plus pound PR with just missing a 70-ish pound PR is really good. Nice. Especially, like I said, with having the changes that you had in your program leading up to this meet. I was very happy with that.
Awesome. Well, we've said this before, you always sort of linger on the things that you miss, right? And I'm assuming from my deadlifts, we're gonna do a lot more grip-based work. But for any one of your athletes, after a performance like you saw and sort of missing a lift here or there, technically or strength-wise, what changes are you gonna be making to a program, or what information are you gathering as you're watching or the hindsight of 2020 about sort of what happened during the meet? Yeah.
It's kind of a tough
That's a loaded question.
There's a lot. There's a lot there. I think it depends on a bunch of things. So I think we had some lifters miss some lifts just to first-time jitters, just being a little bit nervous. or making lifts that should have been easier a little bit harder because it was their first time. So just having the right mindset going into those and going through kind of the steps of what to do like you normally would do. I think some of them were technical. Just touching too low on your stomach, so therefore you can't drive the bar back as well, something like that. Now we need to work on technique, or maybe we just weren't strong enough, which I don't think we really had any of this meet where it was just like, wow, we just weren't strong enough for that. Like I said, your deadlift, your grip did get out, but the lift itself was right there right up to the last second. If you had straps on, you would have crushed that. So we do have to work on your grip specifically.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about a meet is that's the good and bad thing is that that's when we're actually truly testing your capabilities. So it's oftentimes when I'll see you guys actually break down.
Okay.
And based on what breaks down is what leads to what we have to do in the next training cycle. So, maybe in the gym, because we're not truly pushing to our max, your technique is a little bit better or doesn't break down as much. We can't see some of those things. Where come meet day, I'm going to throw Ryan under the bus, but Ryan missed his third squat at the meet, something that he had hit in the gym because his upper back rounded so much that he just couldn't finish the lift. So now we know for him, like working on thoracic extension and keeping his upper back strong and tight is something that we need to work on, and that's both. It's not both, it's all three. It's physical of getting his upper back stronger and working on that thoracic extension. It's technical of keeping his back into the bar and chest up and elbows under the bar, and it's execution-wise of remembering those steps, because he even said that when he went up to squat the first time, he's like, I don't know how to squat, forgot what to do. So it's all three things that goes into all of them of what we need to work on, and each person's going to get something different, and some people that didn't work because, like, Zahir's a good example. Zahir's first meet, he's a much better meet lifter than a gym lifter, and all of his attempts were easy. All of his third attempts, he went 9 for 9, and like his third deadlift was so fast that I made him go take another attempt in the back room, which he hit in the back room. I would never do that normally, and I was like, Brian, take him in the back and have him go up.
That was the first time I heard you say that.
I was like, go up another 7.5 kilos, have him pull a PR in the back room, because like he thought he could pull a little bit heavier, but the week leading up to it, his test just didn't go that well.
Yeah.
And then he hit 50 more pounds in the meet on deadlift alone. So now I know for him that he's a better meet lifter than a gym lifter. So I know that he's going to get a bigger jump in his total based on the meet. So now, same thing, like, that's a different thing we need to work on, because I need to know that if he's good for a 10% jump and you're good for a 5% jump and you're good for a 3% jump, I can't make the same calls for all of you.
Yeah.
So it's what you guys need, but it's also what I need to be able to see and go from there and make those adjustments too. That's a long answer, and there's a lot more I could say, but shit.
Well, that's where, like, if you go back to it, like, that's, like, when we were taking Zahir's openers, I think, they didn't go well, and, I think Ryan was like, what, I had a few options here, but we went, like, the, not cautious route, but, like, numbers we knew we could hit.
Yeah.
Where on meet day, I couldn't read his energy, like, but he, on the platform, he was just, like, stoic, but he killed on the platform, so I have no idea what's going on in him. The same idea with Joe Noyes. He had a great meet, and then when it came deadlift, his second attempt is something he should have hit, but he didn't feel like he had enough effort into it. But as soon as I put on that song, I saw it clicked in.
Yeah.
And he crushed his third. Where it goes back to the idea of you don't know how someone's going to react to a certain stimulus or to a certain environment. Where now that you coach here more, you might have been on the call. Now that I see Joe more, I might know, like, oh, he needs this, and it's gonna enable him to lift.
So that, like, post-meet sort of week of, like, all right, here's what we saw.
Yeah.
For new lifters, it's like, okay, this is now how I understand how he does at competition.
Yeah, it's a great
versus
blueprint to move forward.
Well, I've been competing for, like, 3 years now, 2 years, something like that, whatever, right? Like, okay, cool. His shoulder's still fucked up. Like,
well, yeah,
let's try working on that, right? But squats, we're fine.
Yeah.
Way to make me look bad as a coach.
I mean, but
While also putting like 40 pounds on your bench in the last like
This is
3.5 months. No, there's a lot, and meet day is great because it does give us so much information.
Yeah.
And some of like meets here, like we'd never ran a summer meet for a long time. We tried it last year, went pretty well. We ran again this year, sold out. It's hot here.
yeah.
So if you're not used to training in the heat, a lot of people had
Get out of the kitchen.
A lot of people had bad meets because they weren't used to it being warm. They came from another gym that maybe had air conditioning. We don't have that.
Nope.
It's 90 here, like regularly in the summer.
Yeah.
So the people that train here are a little bit more ready for it. But if you come from a gym that's got air conditioning, you're used to 70 degrees. You walk in here, by the time you're done warming up, you're like, "Wow, I'm tired." So that's another adjustment. We had that happen at Nationals a few years ago when the AC broke in Denver. The first couple of days were smoking hot at an elevation, so people were not responding well. And the next few days the air was working and people started lifting a little bit better because just the environment was better set up. There's so much that goes into what happens on meet day that you can plan everything for it and shit's still going to go wrong.
Yeah.
But hopefully if we have it planned well enough, we can at least keep that in check and it won't go just to hell.
Yeah. So now that the meet's over, right? What is sort of the plan now? Like, ideally, how soon after a meet should picking it back up again? Like, oh, let's get ready for the next one, if you will.
So Brian and I were talking about that earlier today, and my answer is I have no idea.
Oh, sick.
Anyone that tells you they know everything about it is lying. They don't know. It's a
Half a guessing game.
Yeah.
like, well, you get it. It still comes
It's
down
an
to the
educated
person.
guessing game.
Like I mentioned before earlier today, like we had several of the people that lifted on Saturday that lifted tonight, which I was actually surprised about. Most people take a few days off. A lot of people came to the gym, or some of the online members were like, "Hey, I'm ready to train," and I was very surprised by that.
Yeah.
Not me. Walked in, took 3 snaps, I'm like, tired. See you later, guys.
Yeah, but like, now one of the comments I made was that as you do this longer and as you get stronger, I think you need a little bit more rest than you do if you're pretty new to it or if your strength level's not there yet. But we mentioned someone like Steph Gavilanes. Like, Steph has done several meets now with us, and she's very strong in the 57 class. And she always comes back on Monday, like, ready to go. And last year, I think, after the May meet, we were like, all right, let's get right back into it. You're ready to go. She felt great. And by the end of the week, she was not feeling great because it was too much in her system. So I've changed my mind a lot in the last few months from talking to a couple coaches, primarily Zach Cooper and Jeremy Hartman with that, where tonight was, like I said, the first night for a lot of you guys, and I, like, squats, I had some people squat 3 sets of 8, high bar, not low bar, so different in competition, but I had them doing like 55% of what they hit at the meet. Feet up bench, we did at like 50% of what they hit at the meet, and I had them pull some singles, like 15 singles with very short rests with like 40%. Numbers that were all obviously very easy, but I actually had people be like, wow, that was kind of hard. First, they weren't used to doing volume, and second, their body doesn't feel great after the meet. But even just a few months ago, the meet we had in May, I was mostly had people come in and say, okay, don't touch a bar for a week, body build, have fun, and then we'll go from there. Now the rest of the week of programming that I wrote is primarily bodybuilding, but I had them do the movements a little bit. You know, Jeremy and Zach both talked about how it does help, and there's a lot of science that shows that doing the same movement that got you to where you are, being soreness and CNS fatigue, will help you get better. So scientifically it makes sense. We tried it, and we'll see how everyone feels tomorrow if they're dead. I don't know. But then, on the other hand, some people, Carl LaRova, who I trained for a long time, was 3rd in the country 2 years in a row, and I think 6th the 3rd year. Like, he would take like 2 weeks off, like for a week, just wouldn't come to the gym at all, and then you come in, like, foam roll, stretch, do a couple goblet squats, and go. Tim Donahue, after the last meet, took like a solid month off of anything like heavy at all, and his comment the other day was that he feels great and he wants to train heavy, and he's getting ready for regionals, and he's been doing really well. So again, it depends. Everything depends, and like, if you have to.
That's why the fitness industry sucks.
Yeah, that's. I think it just comes down to. I made a comment yesterday that you can't coach the lift; you have to coach the lifter. Because everyone's different. Yes, the lifts are the same, but like the way we go about all of those lifts are different. So if you're just coaching the lift, you're gonna miss a lot.
Yeah. I mean, those you listed. Tim and Carl were both heavyweights, so like they're heavier guys.
They're bigger dudes moving lots of weight.
They're moving bigger weights, and they both have, you know, Tim's a pretty demanding job. Like you take on a lot of question of like what's going on outside. You can go like an endless rabbit hole of like, well, does he feel good? Did he eat well? Did he sleep? Does he whatever? But like, I think we always went with the. I always just say don't touch a bar too, because that's just always what I've done, and I've obviously seen people around me do that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it was just delaying fatigue or getting you recovered again. But there's also the mental break of like, I want to train again. I took a week off. Like I really want to train again, compared to just like going back into it. Yeah.
Right. You don't want people to come in and just be so burnt out from because meet prep
sucks.
Is demanding, and if you're burnt out and you don't want to be here, then maybe you take that week off, or maybe you just don't touch a bar. Maybe you do some bro workouts for a week. So and that's what I've done forever. So until today.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Because you want to have that mindset of training. The only one that I would probably say I'm against, I know a lot of people do this, is that YOLO day of like, you know what? Yeah. I'm going to come in on Monday and go bumper plates on a deadlift bar and pull a max.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
Well, you did that 2 days ago.
Yeah.
You basically just proved that you peaked completely wrong. You're really bad at planning.
You peaked 2 days off.
To me, that's a really bad idea.
Yeah.
I wish that would go away. But it's also only on deadlift where they can use the deadlift bar. I don't see anyone coming into a YOLO squat.
If Instagram went away, would that still exist?
That's a good question. I didn't even know about it until like a couple years ago. Like I've been around this for a while, and I don't remember anyone coming in on Monday and going crazy on a different bar.
Yeah.
Does this mindset change if said person is not going to compete for at least a year?
No, I think
it's still dumb.
It's still not that, but like the transition from like
that back into training.
Into training, because like if like me. Like, so if because I'm not gonna I'll probably do the July meet again next year, right? Hopefully, but I have an entire year to sort of get ready for that meet. Am I going to be sort of once again like peaking, re-peaking, coming down, peaking, or are you going to use the idea that we have so much time, we can just gradually build back up?
If I know for a fact that you're not going to compete, then I'll probably take a long time and build you back up. But what I found with many people is they say they're going to take 6 months off, and then about 10 weeks in, they feel great because they're training at a higher volume and they're getting in better shape. You know, their max strength might not be where it is, but they're just in better overall fitness. They feel good, and they're like, I'm going to do a meet in 4 weeks. And you're like, shit! We've been doing volume for 10 weeks. We haven't hit anything heavy at all. I'm like,
all right, openers.
Like, okay, let's push it real quick and let's see. We got to find out where you're at, because like when we peak for this, you're only really like that strong. If we peak correctly, that strong that one day. Yeah. Like it's not like. You could not have pulled 550 6 weeks ago. You probably couldn't have pulled it 2 weeks ago, but you ripped it off the floor on Saturday, and like so we're that close to locking it out. Could you pull it today?
Probably not.
Probably not. No. So like for that one little brief moment in time we were there, I would love to know that we could build volume and work on things that are wrong and make a lot of corrections technically and physically and mentally and like build up, and then a year from now do your next meet and be like, wow, you just threw 100 pounds on your total. It's probably not feasible. I think a lot of people still actually need to compete more to get better at competing. Yeah. So that's not necessarily feasible, but I also don't think you have to peak for every meet. I know everyone wants to do their best, which makes it tough, but like maybe you need to learn to compete, train to get better, and just go out there and get some competition in. I'll use Tyler for that example. Tyler Kennedy did our May meet. Yep. And didn't have the meet he wanted, mostly technical stuff. said to me, I want to do the July meet. And I was like, shit, it's a quick turnaround. And I'm like, you just peaked and you're going to hit another meet in 7 weeks. And he's like, I want to do it. So I gave him a few weeks of like volume to back him off a little, give him body a little bit of a break, and then we kind of went right back into a peak. And Tyler actually had a great day. He had all 3 were meet PRs, pretty good meet PRs. I think his total went up 15 kilos in 7 weeks.
He was just in a better mindset too. He just like he's done it a few times now, so like other times where he might have been like worrying about what's next, he was just there. Like he just went through the routine, and it just gave him a lot more energy and confidence, I think. So
yeah, and the 15 kilos, I mean, like 15 kilos in 7 weeks is ridiculous, first off, but like he didn't lose 15 kilos in the last meet. He was probably, if he hit all of his numbers and then he hit these numbers, he probably still would have had a 7.5 to 10 kilo PR. Like, so even if he does 7.5 in 12 weeks, 2.5 per lift. Matt Gary talks about all the time, and I love this idea of like, if you can hit 2.5 kilos per lift every 13 weeks, that's 4 times a year. At the end of the year, each lift is up 10 kilos. That's 66 pounds in a year. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's terrible. And we just talked about you, like you were basically 72 pounds in 9 months.
Yeah.
So, but 66 pounds a year, if you do that for 5 years, I don't care how bad you are now. If you do that for 5 years, you're at the top of your class.
Yeah.
So you just totaled
1383 or something like that?
1383.
Yeah.
So if we had 66 pounds to your total every year for the next 5 years, so we're looking at 330 pounds. Dennis Cornelius still smashes you.
Oh, man.
But now all of a sudden you're a 1750, like a 1750 total.
That's huge.
That's huge. And this goes back to stuff we talked about on the podcast before, people like wanting 150 pounds in 12 weeks. And we've talked about this. We can probably do that for you, but you're not going to like it. And you're more
the
likely,
chances of you doing it in that on the other way is probably,
and you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, more plausible.
And your time in the sport is going to be shorter. And the problem is you can't do that 5 times in a row. You maybe you get 150 pounds, and the next one you get 5. And that's a hard thing to realize for a lot of people. But like I said, 7.5 kilos. Even if you don't do a meet, even if you do a mock meet and just test in the gym and see where you're at, 7.5 kilos every 13 weeks. That's awesome.
I mean, like, being self-reflective, my first meet I did here, when we still had the turf that we did in the corner, I was squatting around maybe 420, right? It's been 2 years and I've added 50 pounds a year. I'm like, I squatted 518 with more in the tank, like,
Right.
And
Way above the 7.5 kilo number we were talking about.
when I first joined the gym, my max bench was around 185. Right, I hit 314 at the meet. I hit 319 in the gym. Right, these are like it because one thing that I feel comes from powerlifting is building patience. Mm-hmm. Right, you have to understand that things slowly build so gradually over time that you don't recognize that you are making huge progress. Right, and it wasn't until like a couple hours before I came to the gym, I'm like, holy shit, like I've added 100 pounds to my squat in like 2 years. Like, that's insane. Hopefully we can continue to do that through probably a very stressful part of my life, but like
but that's when time is probably the most underutilized and recognized aspect of this sport.
Yeah,
and I think it's the most important part.
Oh yeah,
because like not just mentally, but just like being able to pull back, and when you're at med school and be like, oh, I added 100 pounds to my total over this amount of time.
Yeah.
And like this little flip in time might pull back eventually and see the next 3 years or so you might double that. But that's the most underutilized aspect that people don't take advantage of, is just realizing how much time you put into it and how much time you will put into it and planning.
Yeah, and I mean the whole philosophy of teamgpt.com, right? Being an online host. See, I haven't done that in a while. Right? Is building that longevity and sort of understanding that progress is something that you strive for, right? But it's not going to happen immediately. Like everyone wants to be so strong that they become Instagram famous. Let's be honest. Like you get sponsorships, biddies hit you up in your DMs. You're like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, right. But understand that like put in the work and it'll freaking happen, man. But anyway, I guess that's a good place to end that one. Yeah, good positive note. Nice. Thank you so much for listening. To send in questions, DM me on Instagram at Syed_likes_stuff. Follow the gym on Instagram at teamgpt. For more information about the gym, visit gleasonperformance.com and join the team. For online coaching, go to teamgpt.com.